And she can hear us.
That's great.
So are you not doing All Points North this year?
No, I wasn't planning it anyway. But even if I would like to, it's the race start. It's on the same date when the finishers party for Race to Poland will happen.
Oh, right.
So
yeah,
I was planning to volunteer and come to the start and help Angela and Tori. Angela and Tori. But not this year.
Yeah, it's not gonna work, is it, timing wise?
No.
Oh well, maybe next year.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe next year, exactly.
Or maybe in a different race.
And you? Are you?
No, I'm gonna have a year off. I've got different goals this year.
Okay.
But
so you're not racing anything?
Oh, I am racing. Yeah, I'm racing Dale's Divide and Trans Balkans race, and then I'll be doing the Transcontinental as well in July.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've got a place at the TCR.
That's great.
Yeah, so
that's great.
Because I'm doing that, I'm not really. I just want to focus on that one, and I'm not doing too much else. Yeah. But I might go and volunteer at All Points North. It's a bit easier for me to get to.
Definitely.
Because I can just drive, and it takes me probably an hour or something to drive there.
Yeah, I was planning to volunteer. It would be great because the original plan was when there was no dates yet to come over to Sheffield with family. Do the volunteering, set the riders off, and then go to do some riding with the family around. I don't know, maybe go to Pennines or and to just chill there.
Actually,
I've been there 3 times, and always was like must go around, and never had time to really get like soak in into the north.
Yeah, they can see what it's all about.
So maybe next year. Let's see.
Sure. Yeah. Cool. So shall we start going through the questions?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Sorry, I took nearly a whole week to send them to you, but hopefully you can see them now.
Oh, it's okay. I just went quickly through the.
Yeah, sure.
Should be okay. I don't know. We'll see what's gonna happen.
And
we did all the routes anyway, so we should know what we're talking about.
Yeah. What I suggest is, because we want to sort of talk about how we approach these different things, and then in relation to specifically different tools on Ride of GPS and what tools you use. So I've got on a separate tab, I've got the Ride of GPS website up so that I can just refer to it basically. Yeah. So it's something.
I have it also.
Yeah. So Ride of GPS are sponsoring Doctor this year, so they just want us to do a series of features and things. Mm-hmm. So this is the first one. So.
I understand.
So the first question. When you think about a race such as All Points North or TCR, or even race through Poland, because that is a free route, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just got various checkpoints, and people have to plan their route between the checkpoints. So how would you typically start planning? How would you go about sort of roughing it out and getting an idea of the whole distance, and then just refining it down to the detail? What's your starting point?
Yeah, that's the hardest one.
Yeah, because there's so much that goes into it, isn't there?
Yeah. And especially with events like All Points North, because there's like a lot of checkpoints. You have 10 of them. Yeah. Like I think start with Transcontinental is much easier because you have only 4.
Yeah.
And like with the planning, yeah, and you're just looking at it. I mean, you just follow the route really. You know which checkpoints to choose first, and with all points north, it's a totally different story because you have 10 checkpoints and you have to know. I mean, you have to decide where to start and where to finish. Yeah, and this is the hardest thing, I believe. I think when I was building my routes for these 3 editions of All Point North, it was always like I was putting the POIs, yeah, on the map. I was opening right with GPS, putting all the control points on the map so they see them like in a big picture. So I see the like 3 are up north in Scotland, like 1 or 2 on the seasides, and some in the Pennines and stuff like that. And then it's just you have to decide and just think which will be the fastest. It's hard to build 10 huge the whole routes and see the distance and compare, and you have to take the wind into account, everything what will happen. So usually it goes like clockwise or anti-clockwise. So the start will be always to have a big picture. In my opinion, I mean, in my routine, I always will have a look on control points like from the big map, and and try to decide. I'll check the maps. I'll see, the terrain map, like to see, where some higher mountains are. Like from the bigger picture, you can even see, the map how they how they are there.
Yeah.
And then I'll somehow decide with my intuition which way to go.
So it's like
this is something what I do, really. And and then the the fun starts with all the little things and tools and what we have, what we can do, and what we can change. For Transcontinental, how you start building your route for Transcontinental? Do you do?
Well, I've not started yet, so but it's the same thing. You just use those checkpoints and create those as a point of interest, and then obviously just connect the dots. And it's a lot easier with something like TCR because you would approach them in a specific order, whereas All Points North, it's like it's completely up to you which order you tick off all the checkpoints. So it's a lot more. I think in terms of route planning and navigation, something like All Points North is a lot more sort of open for interpretation and design, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I was sometimes thinking. I had I think for the last All Points North last year, I had 2 or 3 versions of the route, like the version of orders, the version of order of the checkpoints that I will visit, and all of them were sort of similar in terms of distance. Maybe elevation was different, and. But then I decided somehow, with my intuition, what would be the best.
So it's not generally the shortest in terms of distance. Do you try and balance the elevation as well?
Very often. Quite a lot, and. But this is something what I do. I mean, this is something that comes up when you do the small things, like small sections of the route. When you plan, for example, when I do the route for All Points North, when I was doing the route for All Points North, it was always when I decide about the order of the controls, then I'll go and do each route separately, like totally separate for each route between control points, and then it's mostly question of I'm trying to avoid the elevation. That's the main topic, and the second one with having the less distance, I would say.
Yeah.
Like there is not. I mean, it's not the other way around. Most of the times that I'm always going for the short distance, and then dropping the elevation.
Yeah.
I usually go the less elevation and trying to minimize the distance. And, I'm not sure. Maybe these two options would meet up if somebody's doing the other way around. But
Yeah, it's a balance, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
I generally go. It's personal preference as well, but I generally just try and go for the shortest distance wise. But if there is a significant, like, I don't know, if there's a mountain that you can go over that will save you a lot of distance, then you might as well do it. But then, I don't know. I think one thing that I use, which is quite useful, is on the route planner, you can have multiple routes up at the same time, and it will tell you, in the bar on the left, it will tell you the estimated time that it will take to ride that route. So like it will base it upon past information in your own profile.
Yeah, definitely. I do that a lot. When I build my route on my route planner on the left, I have like with between checkpoint 1 and checkpoint 2, I have sometimes like 10 or 5 or whatever versions of them, and I just switch between them, use them, cut them, and check. I'll check these times.
It's all about the shortest time, because it might be different in terms of distance, but it's the terrain as well, isn't it? So if it's off road, then obviously it's going to take longer. And
definitely, and the good thing is it's always challenging to later on to stick with that time, which is also fine. These times, because when you have this time, there is straight ahead. You have something that you can, lean to, and later on during your planning, like how long this race will take you, or this section.
Yeah.
You have something that you can start from, which is also cool.
So if you've got an idea of time, then you can sort of build that into your race strategy in a way. Is that do you go into that level of detail, or do you just... Yeah,
I do. Sorry, my phone is...
Say like the route...
I just switched it off. Wait, sorry, my phone is quite loud. I'll just switch it off. I forgot to do that. I go pretty deep.
You go into a lot of detail.
And no, seriously, when I got these small sections, like between controls, it's the perfect solution, the perfect option is that I have time to go like with my mouse, to scroll like in a pretty much zoomed view all the route that I built, so I can see all the small roads that I could miss in a bigger picture. You know what I mean? So I just move the line, the route, move around and looking for some kind of a shortcuts, or maybe, like you said, some gravel bits that I could use or not, or some little hills. I changed the map view for the type of map for terrain one, or sometimes I use this. It's OSM. It's called OSM outdoor one.
Yeah.
That has this. This one has lines, vertical lines. How do you call it?
The elevation.
elevation lines. Yeah.
So you can see.
So when you move along the route, then when
Yeah.
you look at the details, you can see them, and sometimes you see, oh, actually you go through the hill, and there is a road on the, I don't know, north or left or south or whatever, that you can actually go a little bit, I don't know, even it's only half a kilometer longer, but you avoid,
Yeah.
100 meters. Yeah. So yeah, I do that, and and also what I do when I move this little bit of the route straight ahead on the left on the top, this time changes.
Yeah.
And then you can easily see if this, you can think and have some proper data. That will tell you, okay, actually this will be worth avoiding or not.
Yeah, it's like instant feedback, isn't it? You don't need to go and ride the route. It will just tell you straight away if this is going to be a quicker way to go. So, yeah, I really like how quick it is. And obviously it will tell you, say if you go down a certain track or a road, it will tell you quite clearly if that is off-road. If you have the routing style on cycling instead of driving, then and you route it to go along like a bridleway or an off-road track, it will sort of show it as dashed. So that means that it's off-road. So you might sort of decide not to do that, or you might decide to look at it a bit more closely and just judge if it's actually worth taking that shortcut.
Oh yeah. Definitely. To be honest, when I build my routes, I usually use the driving thing, the driving option, unless I cannot go somewhere where I want to go. That option. Then I change into cycling, and then if I cannot go somewhere where I want to go with cycling mode, then I change into walking, and then I use walking, and then if I cannot go somewhere with walking, I change it to draw line. Sometimes just draw line.
I'm the same. Yeah.
And it happens a lot with my routing, seriously, because some roads are just not, I don't know, they show that they closed, and I don't know if you knew about that option, but if you change this map, map that uses Google, map type that uses Google, and change to OSM, and then so some roads you won't be able to pass on Google version with driving, and some OSM will let you go because there is some kind of updates that the roads are closed or not for, I don't know, there's bridges built or something like that. But sometimes, even if I know that there is a road closure, I still think, come on. Sometimes you can go on a bike, it may be faster, so I'll pretty often take that risk. So then I use draw line, or I don't know, or walking, or whatever.
The draw line is a last resort, and it's sort of forcing the route to go a certain way, isn't it? When
definitely.
When it doesn't recognise.
The style that I'm building my routes, I usually don't use. I try to build the route like 100% myself, if you know what I mean. I don't rely mostly on stuff like, okay, I'll do cycling mode and I go from CP1 to CP2, press cycling, and my style of riding is like, I won't leave that. If I do that, I only do that just to see what the idea of the taking route is. But then I'll clear all that anyway, and then build my own road by road later on. So these tools are like crucial if you want to do that.
Because otherwise on the driving you might end up on a motorway as well, or or dual carriageway.
I think there is an option that you can just tick.
You can tick box avoid motorways, but it will still take you. It will still take you on a really busy road. And I remember All Points North last year. I ended up on a really busy A road, and the police police car came alongside me.
Really?
Yeah, and the police escorted me off the road.
Wow.
So even though it wasn't illegal to be on there, but it probably was a bit too busy. So
yeah, I had the same in Germany this last year during TCR. I also had like few roads that I had that option ticked on to avoid the motorways, but the roads probably changed, the road types changed, like in meantime, and the data is not always 100% that you can, you can be 100% sure, and always have to double check. And I ended up like going on the road, and there's a sign now. Suddenly it's an express road.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're like, okay, what's now?
Yeah, something I use. Well, obviously one of the map types is Google Maps, so it has Street View on there, and you can drag the little orange man over to the road, and then you can just go on Street View and have a closer look at what the actual road is like and make that judgment.
Yeah. This one is actually pretty useful for all sorts of things. Sometimes when we say about taking shortcuts like maybe gravel shortcuts, or some roads that aren't street viewed 100%. So what I even do, I sometimes go like on the junction. Put that
and try and zoom in and see how far you can see.
And then look around, and then zoom in. It starts with the tarmac, so I zoom in more.
Yeah.
Is the tarmac far away?
Or even
go back
on satellite.
Yeah, exactly. Then I go back. Then I go satellite and see if that
zoom in.
The satellite is it's not always also up to date, but you can see if the difference between this the beginning bit that you could see on the street view is changing along the way.
Yeah.
And then if it's not changing that much, it means that probably it stays the same. But sometimes even on the satellite view, you look from the satellite and you see the gray thing, and you say, "Oh, whoa, it's tarmac, it's looking good." And then you go there, and actually, it's a gray gravel. I used to have that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just a case of taking a risk, isn't it? And you don't know until.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But still, the tool will. It's definitely helping a lot.
It's pretty...
and also it can work the other way around, because for example, I was building a route for Gravel Attack. The race that I organize here is a gravel race. So actually with satellite view, I use it really a lot for looking for a good gravel.
Okay.
So it's not that I'm looking for tarmac. I'm looking for a good gravel between some mountain biking trails and other stuff. And this is also cool because you can clearly see what road will be more for gravel and more for mountain biking. Yeah. Which is also cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Just looking at the next question, because there's so much that goes into planning a route, but in terms of deciding which roads or trails to choose or which ones to take, do you use the heat maps at all? So if you look at along the top, you've got heat map, so you can go on the global heat map or personal heat map. So global, you can see what other people have done, and all like the well-trodden paths, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I use heat maps a lot, and depends from the race or from where I race or where I build or plan the route, whatever. It depends what heat maps I use, because, for example, for All Points North last year, what I used mostly were personal heat maps. Because I've been doing it even 2 times before.
Oh, yeah.
So I knew where I've been.
Yeah.
And I could really, I could remember the roads, and I could remember the climbs, and I could remember my bad choices from last year, from year before. And for example, that I took route that was less elevation, but I didn't take into account that this little climb had like 20%. So yeah, it was still slower than taking more elevation, but with the easier climb.
Yeah.
Around. So I use personal heatmap a lot. Have personal heat maps really a lot, and when you have some data, they're really helpful. I love them.
Yeah.
Like for example, in Spain, I've been racing in Spain twice. Also used them. Transcontinental as well. I've done 2 times before transcontinental, so through Italy or further down. I also used some of my previous routes that I liked, and and for that was good. But global heat maps are the best where you go and build your route somewhere that you haven't been before.
Yeah.
Never ever.
It is really good if, like TCR, there's so many new roads probably for people. So it's good to see the global heat maps and just get an idea which roads to take and which to avoid. So
like last year on Transcontinental, we've been going through Bosnia, and having the heat maps there is super helpful because these roads, in Bosnia there is not much like street view. And there are like photos maybe, but roads aren't really street viewed that much. And it's hard to know. And when you see global heat maps there, then I remember when I was building the route for the last year, I even like noticed that thanks to the heat maps, you might actually assume which roads will be safer to ride and which not, because when you for example go to Bosnia, put the heat maps there, you see some main roads are red of heat maps and some even close to them they are totally empty, and it's like I would think probably this will be more busy or maybe harder like gravel, because like in some parts of the world generally you have roads which look like tarmac roads, but they're not.
You never know what you're going to get on the TCR, do you?
This year.
Sorry?
Sorry, what did you say? Sorry, I didn't hear.
You never know what you're going to get. If there's no street view, then the heat maps definitely are like the next best thing. But it's still a bit of a risk in terms of what that surface type is like. Is it in Germany as well where they don't have any street view? So Germany and a few other places, it's probably more useful to use the heat maps than anything else.
Actually Germany, I used when I was routing through Germany last year, it was really hard. It was one of the hardest beats to go through for the Transcontinental. Especially because of that lack of the street view.
And there was a lot of Germany as well, wasn't there? Because you have to cross Germany and then sort of cross it again in a way. And thanks to heat maps there, I found some really cool and really fast cycle lanes or cycle routes, I could even say. That were avoiding all the Düsseldorf, Dortmund, Essen, all that we've been crossing. So it's like super busy area, and I found. I remember I had my first route. It was some roads. I wasn't happy from it, but I was like coming back to it to rebuild it again and again and again, and and then I was searching for something really, and then thanks to heat maps, I found like that one route it's like super red, like really super red, and it's avoiding all the roads. And I managed to have some. To have some photos from the area like next to it or something, and I noticed that actually this route is
was paved.
Okay.
Yeah, and I built a route there, and it was great. It worked perfect. I was really happy.
I bet
So,
it felt like you'd found like the holy grail of routes almost, because it was like a fast. Was it like a bike path then? A paved bike path?
Yeah, it's kind of a bike route, I
Yeah.
would say. Yeah, like I was avoiding Düsseldorf, some along the river, and then between roads, really. Yeah. So it was pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the next question to talk about. So, how to balance the distance and elevation. I think we've already sort of touched on this, haven't we? So, it's if you can look at the different maps, you can change between them. So you can look at the topo map or the outdoor map. Oh, the terrain.
Yeah,
the terrain one, I think, is the best one in terms of seeing.
Sorry, what's the best? The one?
Is it? It's just called terrain, and it will show you the areas that are more mountainous, and the bits that are more flat. So you can see. You can sort of plan your route around the hills or over the hills, depending on whether you want to take those shortcuts or not.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that well, it's easy. I mean, easy. It's not easy, but the way I do it, I've worked some kind of I would say system. Yeah.
Okay, what's your system?
Route, so I have a bit of route that I built. Let's say, I built a bit of route, and then when I put the control points to lock the route around the place that I'm thinking to avoid.
Yeah.
So I locked the rest of the route, so it won't destroy everything. Like, so moving the route won't destroy everything that I've done before. So I locked the bit around the area that I'm trying to find the diversion. Let's say,
Yeah.
And then just grab the route and just move it wherever I want to move it. And if I move it, I look at the bottom, and I see the difference between kilometers and elevation, and then I decide if I like it or not.
Yeah.
I can use on the left, and what we say before, we can use this time. That will change. And this is pretty easy. I mean, the one thing is that I mentioned already before, that sometimes you may think that there is less elevation. Okay, so I'll take it, but it's worth like zooming in and seeing the grade that you have on climbs that you've chosen instead of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you zoom and you touch the either the elevation line on the bottom, or you touch the route, you see the grade that's there. And I seriously had that. I thought, okay, I avoided like 200 meters or something like that of climbing, and same distance it was. I was so happy, but then I got this hill which was 20-something percent, and then it was okay. And I was, going it so slow. It was shorter, and it wasn't going that high like the other hill, but it was so steep. So I think that's the one also that's worth looking at. And it's great that we have it like, you have it straight on. You don't have to go anywhere else. You don't have to change any view or stuff. You just have to point your mouse or little finger, on the place, and you see it. Like it's -1, or it might be, 10%, 5%, whatever.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just change the bit and then check alongside of it. How does it look like?
Change that elevation profile is really handy along the bottom. What I find is that if you've got a really big route and you want to have a look at a certain section of it, you can highlight a smaller section and it will go into that section in more detail, and it'll give you almost like a segment, you know, on Strava, and you want to look at a certain segment. And if you highlight it, it will tell you exactly what the distance, the elevation gain.
Yeah, definitely. With races that we do, you have to do that.
Yeah.
Because when you go, over 200 kilometers route, you may miss if you don't zoom in. You see on the elevation profile, and it's pretty flat. Like, right?
I know.
But when you zoom in and drag, like, I don't know, 15 kilometers of it,
and then you zoom in and you
see
see all the little hills.
So it's really important. And then you can use this control stuff, lock it in around it, and then try to work on this little bit. And then you deselect the section, and you can move forward and look on another bit of the route. Yeah, it's great. It's great, and it's important to zoom in.
Yeah. I remember when All Points North last year, I ended up going. I went over Rhinos. Don't know if you did that. So from the west in the Lake District, go over a really steep pass, and I sort of knew that I was gonna probably end up walking it, and I did walk it. And I thought it saved me about 20 kilometers because some people actually went. I can't remember what the name of the checkpoint was. It Ulfa, and then to get back on route, you can either go over Rhinos or you can sort of backtrack and go around it. And it depends on what if you really like steep hills, then obviously you can take the steep hills and cut the distance. But other people will prefer to go further and do less climbing. So it depends on what you enjoy doing.
And I think it also depends. In my position, it also depends from what's the moment of the race is. Is it the beginning of the race, or is like it will be the end of the race? Having 20% climb at the end is probably not the best idea. It will definitely be much slower than at the beginning. Yeah. So having shortcut with a steep climb and less elevation at the beginning of the race may be useful. Yeah. But later on, maybe pretty devastating. It all depends as well. Also here. For me with lakes, how did I do the lakes? I think I wait. I went back and over there and back from the south.
So you avoided. You avoided the steep hill.
I went to Ulfa. I went from Broson. I remember. And then I get back to Kendal.
Yeah.
I went this way. It was. I was dying. I've ended up food at the lakes. There was no food more, and I had to get to Kendal without food, and it started raining super strong. I remember, the whole morning was raining. Oh my god, I was so hungry on that climbs before Kendal. They were also steep.
It's the Lake District. There's lots of steep climbs around there. And up the Struggle as well. I don't know if you went up that one. That was a real killer. That's from Ambleside, and there's a really steep climb out of Ambleside.
Okay.
So can we talk about resupply points and custom queues and point of interest? Do you plot on, say, like shops and petrol stations, and do you plot those on as point of interest, or how do you map those out?
I mean, I do them. I do points of interest mostly when I'm building the route, when I will be planning my stops and stuff. But for using them while I'm riding, so before I download the route, I go on this because I use Garmin Intrex, so I have to split the route. Every route I do, I have to split into smaller sections. So Intrex cannot deal with big files.
Okay.
So I have all these small, like I usually do 150Ks, 180K splits on my routes.
Yeah.
Even for transcontinental, for every ride, I do these small ones.
Oh.
I feel better also.
You had a lot of routes for TCR then, like lots and lots of.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember how many, 20 something or something. Yeah. But it felt good, you just finished one, then finish another one. It's easier to finish 180K route than,
Then one big one,
yeah.
Yeah.
And but still, I have these points of interest on the big route. But before I download the bits into my Garmin or into anything that I would use, I put custom cues. Because I found that they're more visible on my Garmin generally, because they land directly on the route, and actually Garmin, I think, also can shout them out while you ride. So actually you might have a notification of whatever you call it, shop in 20Ks or whatever, or drink water, or buy food, or control point, or something like that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Custom cues are great. For me, this is amazing too. I love it because I can actually put whatever I want, and I can name it however I want, and I'll see it, and the navigation tool will shout out, like, I don't know, this will be in. And for me, for example, when I ride, I don't use cues like turn right, turn left, and stuff. I just when I download the route for the navigation device, I don't put them. I mean, I only put the custom cues, and Garmin automatically puts the high point and low point of the route, so the hills. So I don't see turn left and right, but I see the top of the hill in 20 kilometers, or the bottom in 10 kilometers.
Yeah.
And this is like my goal to do during the race.
Yeah.
Not like turn left. I try to be, focused on what's before of me, what's ahead of me. Mm-hmm. I try to be focused what's ahead of me. And I look at my Garmin to don't miss the turn, and generally, when you build your route on your own, like really, kilometer by kilometer, you have it on your head later on. Really, really hard. It sticks in your head, and so then later on when you ride, it's much easier to follow it, even if you don't have all that cues. 10 kilometers to the left or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'll remember that. I mean, not like totally from the head. I still need the gun, but
that would be very impressive.
Yeah. It's just something that sometimes came back.
So
that's how I do. And then thanks to that, I only see the hill in 10 kilometers, or I see fill up the water in 20Ks, yeah?
Okay, yeah. I really like the, so it's completely personalised, isn't it? And you can make that custom cue. I never really thought about making cues for the top of a hill, but it's like when the race is so long, you need to have little goals like that.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't do them. I mean, actually, I'm not a tech guy. I don't put them. Maybe Garmin does it on its own, but I just have them.
Okay.
Every route I download to Intrex, I just have them. And because when you have a route, you might say export as a file, yeah, and then you have all these choices: feed course, TCR, blah blah blah, yeah, and you have GPX track. Yeah, that's what I use. And here you have options to choose. You can reduce this to 500 points. This is always what I do because of the
the size of the file. Yeah.
And then you can include POI as waypoints, but I don't use that because sometimes POIs are off my route, like next to it and stuff, and I don't think Garmin will shout out for them. But if I include cues as waypoints, then I will have all the cues, which will be left, right, and stuff. Yeah? But if I untick this include cues as waypoints, I won't have this left, right. I'll have only this high point and low point. I don't know if it's Garmin or not, or if will Waha do that also, or Karu, or Hammerhead, or whatever options are. I don't know. I'm not the specialist.
Yeah, it depends how much information you want. Like, it can be a bit overwhelming if you have constant notifications saying left, right, straight on, and I just prefer to follow the line, really.
You too?
Yeah, I don't really have the custom queues. I'll have queues, resupply points and petrol stations and things like that, but nothing else. So can we talk about exporting? So say you spent months planning your route for TCR and you're finally happy with it, and so how do you you then export the route? Do you kind of use this tool where you can cut them into different sections?
Yeah, I do it like pretty old school style because I know that some people, I mean, some of my friends, they always say to me, "Oh, you don't have to split it by hand. There are some tools, some apps that can split it for you."
Yeah, that can split the route for you.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't trust them. I want to see what portion I'm taking and where I split the route and stuff. So I just open the whole route that I have, for example, for all points north. And it's like 1,000 Ks, and I just drag the on the elevation profile. On that line on the elevation profile at the bottom. I just take this, I don't know, 150 Ks or 170 Ks or however I want.
Okay.
But also what I do, I also see where it ends. If it's like uphill or downhill or descent. If it's like in the town or maybe on some straight road, like empty road and stuff. I take care of it because when the time will come, I will be there and I have to, change the route, next route in my Garmin. I want to do it on 20% downhill or in a busy city or stuff. I want to do it like,
it needs to be at a place like a junction where you can stop and sort it out.
Yeah, or on the climb, so we can just do it while you're climbing, on the bike. Or, I don't know, on some empty, nice, straight road, which, countryside or whatever. Then you still don't have to really stop. You can do it while you ride. Which is cool. Really? Yeah, so I look at it. I pay attention for that. And there's another thing that I pay attention when I go into another section. Like, I have the first one, let's say, and then I have another one. So I always started from, I don't know, like 5 Ks before I stopped the previous one.
Okay, so there's an overlap between the two.
Yeah, in case, I don't know, something would happen, I don't know. I had like once something like that my Garmin took a bit of route out of what I've planned, and I had to like look for the start. I couldn't find it. There were options like that. So I always try to overlap. And thanks to that also, when I know that when I have notification that my route will end, let's say 1 or 2 or 3 kilometers, then I know that I don't have to wait until the very last moment, of that route to go for another one.
Yeah, you can change it.
Yeah, okay. Actually, I can change it now, and because now it's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit of quiet moment, or I don't know, anything can happen. You can be at the end of the route, and then I don't know, you may run from the dog, or be running out from the dog or whatever, and then you may think that you will have time to change the route, but actually you don't have. So thanks to that, I have this 5 kilometers overlap that I can actually change the route whenever I want.
That's a really good tip.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how many people split routes for such a short things like I do, but yeah, this is what I do.
No, that's a really good tip. And you can also export the route as different types. So like GPX is the normal one, but you can also export as, say if you wanted to have a backup route on Google Maps, for instance, you can export a KML. Is that something that you do? Do you have like a backup somewhere else?
No, I don't do that actually.
Yeah.
I usually rely on only one. But my backup is my phone app, right with GPS phone app.
And also you're memorized, the route memorized in your head.
Yeah, the stars.
Yeah, the stars and the moon.
No, my like proper backup is always I always have the route and the small sections that I've downloaded to my Garmin. I still have all the main route, the whole route, and the small sections downloaded for offline in my Ride with GPS map app.
Yeah.
And it's there. So, and from I think 2 years, I have 2 phones with me for every race, because before that I've learned that breaking phones or losing phones or I don't know, whatever with phones, so this is my thing. I know when something happens. So recently I have always 2 phones, and on both phones there's Ride with GPS app and routes offline.
Nice. Yeah. Because
but actually I can see what you say with that Google thing. I see it's a pretty cool thing. I mean, I never used it, but actually, as you mentioned that, it might be pretty cool for example, I don't know, using Google for, I don't know, you need emergency bike service. Yeah. So you can put it in you can open Google and you have the route over there, and you still, ride, I don't know, 3Ks off the route to the bike shop, do the thing, and then it's easier for you to get back. Yeah,
it's easier to see where the route is and how to get back onto it again. And there's different apps that you can use that have offline maps, like OS maps. I'm sure there's some others as well.
I think Maps is easy. There is few.
A lot of them use Google as their base maps, so like the KML file will always work.
Do you do that? Do you put the KML into your phone?
Yeah,
really?
I use an app called Maps.me, and it's basically like, it's a very basic map, but you can import the route and it will just show you the line and it will show you where you are. So obviously, if you need to, then you can just follow the route using that. It's very much like, it's very basic and it's very last resort.
Yeah. What I use when I go off route for something, because I have to. Ride with GPS app also has this. If you have if you're on your route offline, even if you're not navigating it, you may just open it, and there is that button. It's called localization button, or something like that. The little circle. So when you press it, it shows you where you are opposite your route. So it works pretty like Google.
So if you wanted to plan a route on the fly as well,
you can also do that.
You can also just do that on the app.
Yeah, but you need internet connection, which is not always available. And
that's true. Depends where you are.
If you're in the city, so you can pretty easy do that. I used to do that a few times on the race. I used to like all little changes, but I did that before. Now I'm trying to avoid changing the route like during the race.
It has to be like, like the bridge is down or something like that, or the road is closed.
I had that on TCR. Yeah, exactly. I had that on TCR last year. Yeah, in Germany, 2 times. Yeah, I had 2 bridges that were like closed down, or I had to like go around because there was no path from this side, and there was like huge workplace. I mean the roadworks. Yeah, so I've used that, but yeah. Yeah, you need internet connection. Yeah, that's definitely important. That would be great. That would be great. I was thinking about it to have an app, and I think that Ride with GPS is good to implement that. But you would have you would need a lot of space on your phone that you can download. Imagine you can download the area.
Yeah.
Where you can later on plan a route offline.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? That would be good. I think it's doable.
So I don't quite know what you mean.
No?
Yeah.
Because imagine, did you plan a route on Ride with GPS app
Yeah.
before? You did, yeah. So
Yeah.
When you open it, you have a map, and while you scroll the map, like I don't know, north or south or whatever, yeah, it's using internet connection to show it to you, yeah, to show what's east and west. So imagine that you can download the area, the data for the area that you've set into your phone. I think you can download the area from Google.
Okay.
Yeah? From Google Maps, you can do that. You can download the area from Google Maps, and then later on, you might do navigation, like when you ride your car or even ride your bike. You can do navigation within this area offline.
Ah, right. So if there's a certain area that there might be like an obstacle or a road closure or something, you can download that.
And
then
I mean, it may be used, for example, I don't know, you go somewhere when roaming is pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So you download the area for this, let's say, country or whatever. It's for Google mostly. I think it works like that. You zoom the area out on your phone, that you see what you want to download, and then you press download. Yeah, and then later on when you're there, you can be offline and still do navigation. I don't know, take me to this hotel or take me somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
So I'm thinking about building the route, because Google, you can, but it's not like really building the route. It's a bit different. Like imagine you have Ride with GPS app and you download the, I don't know, let's say Rwanda. And then when you're there, you can be offline and still plan the route around for your ride or for your emergency getting to somewhere. Yeah. And then navigate it through your phone because it's offline already. That would be also cool.
That'd be really good. Yeah. Especially when in areas where, like, for race across Trans-Balkans, I think there's going to be areas that are really remote and probably won't have any mobile signal. So
definitely. Yeah. I had that in Serbia, in Montenegro, and I think in Bosnia also. I had problems with my data. Even if I had roaming and stuff, I even had
nothing. No, that's awesome. I think we've pretty much covered everything now. But I know there's a lot that goes into route planning. But is there anything else that you can think of that you use or to help you plan your routes? We've talked about quite a lot though.
Yeah. I'm just yes.
Have you got any?
I'm building a lot of routes. Really, it's like nearly every day I'm building something. You know, it's Like even recently when I go for my rides, like I don't know, 50Ks or 100Ks, I like to sit like 10 minutes before I leave and just put on the map and see where can I go, even close to my home.
Yeah.
And looking for some new roads maybe that I haven't been, or just looking for places that I've been, and just to be curious how much time this will take me. If I have, I don't know, spare time after work, 2 hours or 3 hours only, and I want to go somewhere, so I sometimes use quick route planner just to see, will it be enough for 3 hours? Yeah, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Have you got any? What races are you doing this year? Have you got any goals?
I don't know now. I mean, I definitely, I will go for, I think it's a new race across Switzerland.
Okay.
I'm going to do, it's 1,000 Ks. It's in July. I won't do TCR this year, but and I really would like to do the Transam. But that was like at the end of last year. I was thinking that it will be possible for this year, but now it's like I'm not pretty sure if I will be able to. So now I'm after this Rwanda thing. I'm just
enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be.
I'm just trying to. I said to myself, okay, let's cool down a bit. Let's see how this year will go. And, what's gonna be closer. I have still lots of stuff to do because I'm organizing race reform pretty soon, so it's in May. And a lot of stuff is going on around that. We're doing brevets around here as well, and PPPs this year. So a lot of people want to take part in brevets because they want to qualify. So we do all the 200, 300, 400, 600, so 4 brevets until the end of May, which is pretty a lot of work. So actually I wouldn't have time probably for racing now until the end of May. So I'm just like, let's see what's gonna happen.
Totally, it's not all about racing, is it? You've just got to enjoy it really. At the end of the day.
Definitely. So we'll do something. Yeah, we'll see what's gonna happen.
That's the main thing. Great. Right. I need to head off soon. But it's been really good to chat to you. I'm really sorry you still can't see me. You haven't been able to see me the whole time.
No, I can't see you. I saw you for a moment. But
okay.
No, I just cannot.
I've been here this whole time though, anyway.
Sorry, I heard.
But thank you so much for sharing all the insights into route planning.
Thank you. Thanks for the chat, and good luck with your route planning for Transcontinental.
I think I should probably get started pretty soon, but I don't need to because I'm not doing all points north. And the Trans-Balkans is a fixed route, so I don't need to really worry about that too much. But
so that's TCR. The one thing you focus.
TCR will be the main focus.
Yeah. Good luck.
Thank you. It'll soon be here. It seems like a long way away, but it will soon be here before we know it. So.
Good.
Right. Thank you so much, Piko, again. And
cheers.
Yeah.
Take care.
I'll speak to you soon. Take care then. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.